Hello everybody, HoldTheReggae here with an announcement to make. I am starting my own Patreon for my future Rise of New Champions mods. On this video I'm going to be discussing all the details of it. I'll be explaining the reasoning for why I'm creating it. I'll be presenting all the tiers, its prices, and of course its benefits. I'll also talk a little bit about the World Cup Kitpack Mod, which is on its final stage and will be the kickoff point of my Patreon. I'll talk about paid commissions of my mods, and I'll talk about public releases. That is one thing I want to make it clear for everybody before we start. I do not intend on locking mods behind the Patreon wall, okay? My Patreon is not going to be a pay for access, it's going to be a pay for early access. So if you're not subscribed to my Patreon because you either don't have the money right now or you just plain and simple don't want to commit to a monthly fee, don't worry, you'll still be able to download all of my mods eventually. It just means my Patreon subscribers will be able to play them before you do. So, let's start with the basics. The reason I'm starting this Patreon is because I'm genuinely thinking about slowly transitioning into working here on YouTube full time. But the reality is, I don't have the luxury of abandoning everything else to sit here making videos and just hope that the YouTube algorithm is going to blast my channel. I need to have at least some sort of minimal and reliable income to help me keep dedicating more time and resources into YouTube. And that's exactly where Patreon comes in. Patreon will give me a safe net, which will not only allow me to commit, but it will also give me an opportunity for improvement in a long-term scenario. As my plan for the future is to eventually use the money I earn from Patreon to invest in the channel and my skills. And what I mean by that is, eventually, when the earnings become enough to sustain myself in this platform, I intend on using my profits from Patreon to do things like paying for Photoshop lessons, which will help me making better quality mods and produce thumbnails quicker to save time, video editing lessons so I can make better videos and produce them faster, and a lot of other ideas that are reserved for when the time's right. This is why I would really appreciate the support of all of you guys in this new journey, because I truly want to continue making videos and mods. I think this community has a lot of potential to grow, and I want to help it grow as much as I can. And I know this is an opportunity which eventually will allow me to help way more than I can today. So, now let's talk about the new Patreon itself. My Patreon page, which has a link on my YouTube banner and will also have a link in the description of my future videos, will have 3 different tiers for you to choose. I will now break down each one of them for y'all to know exactly what you're getting into, with one little caveat, which is paid commissions, which will have its own talking point right after I finish laying all of this down, and you must watch it if you have any intention of paying for them, okay? So, tier 1. Tier 1 is the lowest tier, called Reserves. It has the price of $1 per month, and your benefits will be having access for all of my mods as soon as they are released on Patreon. You will have tutorial requests priority over my YouTube subscribers. So just to clarify, I will still take requests from my YouTube subscribers on what kits or players to make tutorials for, despite the fact that they may not be a patron, but patrons' requests will take priority over them. There's a possibility of me making polls to decide what other mods or maybe video ideas I have, and I need you guys to decide on which one you prefer. And these polls will be either patrons exclusive, or there will be a poll on both my YouTube channel and my Patreon page, and patrons' votes will be worth double points in those cases. And to finish it off, at the end of all my future videos there will be an image showcasing all of my patrons as a form of gratitude for your support. And this is what it will look like. So moving on to tier 2. Tier 2 is the middle tier, called Substitutes. It has the price of $2 per month. You'll have 1 week early access to all of my mods before the official Patreon release. You'll have tutorial requests priority over my YouTube subscribers and the reserves. And of course, you also have the voting power and the shout out at the end of the videos. And then there's tier 3, which is the highest tier, called Starters. It has the price of $4 per month, and this is what I believe to be the biggest benefit and the main reason why most of you would possibly want to pay for this tier. You'll have access to beta testing for all of my mods. So for example, let's say I'm making a home and away kit of a random team, and as soon as I make one of them, either it's the home kit or the away kit, I'll post them on Patreon for the starters to download and test it on their game, so you can play it and report back to me saying if there are any major fixes I need to make. This will allow me to find mistakes I may have missed, fix them quicker, and deliver a better product. All at the same time, the starter tier will allow you to download the finished product even earlier than the substitutes tier. And this will also mean that you have access to every single post on my Patreon. Again, you also have tutorial requests priority over my YouTube subscribers and both the substitutes and reserves, plus the voting and the shoutout. Finally, to the things some of you may want to know about, let's talk about the commissions. Commissioning is something that I wasn't planning on doing because, well, for starters, I'm not a professional kit maker, which means I can only do very simple kits from scratch. I'm not good enough to create my own high quality, very detailed kits. But since there isn't any modder of Captain Tsubasa that I've seen willing to take on requests for mods, which by the way is understandable since it's very time consuming, so I'm not criticizing anybody for not doing it, okay? I just figured, hey, if people would like to pay me to do them, I'll do it. So for starters, commissioning from scratch. If you don't need a 4K Blu-ray surgical level of quality kit out of my commission, I believe I'm good enough for you, my friend. The following are the only cases where I'll take commissions for kits made from scratch. Either A, anime kits that are mostly simple. For example, if you want a Esperion FC kit from Awashi, or the Enoshima High School kit from Area no Kishi, made from scratch, I can do that. Or B, basic versions of those real-life kits where you know ahead of time those little details won't be there, but the important stuff will. For example, let's use PSG's New Jersey. If you want me to create this from scratch for you, with all the little intricacies and embosses the shirt texture has and stuff, I'm not your guy, okay? I'm not good enough to make one from scratch, and I'll not sit here and lie to you pretending I do, deliver you a mod with quality under your expectations while charging you for it. If you don't need all of that, and a more basic version of it will suffice, I got you. If you're not satisfied with that simple amount of detail, well, there is a solution, which is the second type of commissions I'll take. Conversions of PES/FIFA kits to RONC. What I can do is to take the PNGs of already created kits for PES or FIFA, available for free on the internet, and use Photoshop to cut and reshape them, converting them and repackage them so you can just copy and paste it on your RONC folder and enjoy it. Which means that if you either found the PSG kit you want that's published for free on Google or sites like PES Kit Creator or FIFA Kit Creator or Reddit communities like WePES, great community by the way, some kit makers there even take free requests, give it a check. Or you have a kit that you commissioned in the past from a kit maker and you want to pay me for the labor of doing the conversion for you, I'll take it. So these are the things I need you to always keep in mind before making a commission with me. Maybe one day I'll get to use all of my profits from these commissions, pay for Photoshop lessons and make high quality kits myself, but until then, this is how things will have to be. Moving on to commission benefits on tiers. As you can see here, I made some restrictions for each tier on the quantity of commissions that can be made. This is just a starting point, okay? This is not set in stone. I set it up this way just so I can safely guarantee that I will not get overworked. Because I honestly have zero idea on how many people are actually willing to ask for commissions on me. Don't even know if you guys want it. So I'll adjust these values as we go. If there aren't many commissions and I feel like I have time to accept more, I'll decrease the limit. Don't worry. Now to the commission rewards for the tiers. Let's use the reserves tiers for example. As you can see, I basically included the right to commission one pack with both sets, which is 4 kits in total, home and away kits for linesmen plus goalkeepers, allowing you to commission a home and an away kit. This way you don't have to commission a PSG kit, get the home kit, then have to wait 3 months just to get the away kit. Or you can also ask for 2 home kits or 2 away kits of 2 different teams if you want, your choice. The prices, by the way, will have to be discussed on a case-by-case basis, since it will depend on a lot of things, like whether you want me to convert an existing kit or make a new one from scratch. By the way, just because I'm converting something that already exists doesn't mean that it's gonna be easier to do than making one from scratch, especially since the ones I'm gonna be making from scratch are basic. Sometimes converting them from PES to RONC, it's actually harder than making a basic one from scratch. So how much detail there is in the uniform for me to get it right. So stuff like that is the reason why I can't just give you a number. Case by case, I'll deal with the price based on what you want me to do. So now that we got all of that out of the way, let's address what happens to those of you who will be supporting me on YouTube but will not be patrons, or those of you in the future who decide to stop being patrons for whatever reason. For starters, I'll reiterate, tutorial requests from YouTube subscribers will still be a thing, but the priority for those will be the lowest. Patreon requests will be the go-to based on their tiers, while YouTube requests will get their turn when the patrons' requests are done. Got it? Okay. Now, the most important thing. Like I said in the beginning, my mods will not be locked behind a Patreon wall. My Patreon will be for early access. My mods will have their Patreon release, which is the one tier 1 reserves will be given access to. And after 1 month of it being posted there, the mod will become public. That's it. If you're not a patron, you will still get the mod, but you'll have to wait a month to get it. Also, the mod will still be released to the public on Nexus Mods, and there's a reason for that. You see, Nexus Mods has this little thing called donation points, aka DPs. Every time a mod gets a unique download, I receive DPs as a reward. And these points can be used in their store to be exchanged for games or a payout, which means I'm able to turn your downloads into a potential giveaway in the future. Of course, the games are a bit pricey compared to the amount of points I'm getting, and it will take a while before we can exchange them into one, and I don't know exactly how much real money does these points equate to, but it's there, and it's in the realm of possibility. So even those of you who decide to be patrons, I'd encourage you to still give a click on the download button for those public releases on Nexus Mods, just so we can rack up those DPs and turn them into a giveaway as soon as possible. Now, before I wrap this up, I'll just quickly let you guys know that the World Cup Kitpack Mod, which will be the first one released on my Patreon, is pretty much done. It just needs some organizing. The mod will have the 1 week early access for both the starters and substitutes, and once that's done, the reserves will be given access to it too. 1 month later, after the reserve access, public release on Nexus Mods. I'll post a quick video on my YouTube channel announcing the Patreon release of the mod when it happens, and a longer video when the public release happens too. This will be the standard for all of my future mods. Whew! And we're finally done. Sorry, I know that was a lot to take in, but it was important to say all of it, and I appreciate all of your attention and bearing all of this information with me, okay? And I guess now all that's left for me to say is thank you. Thank you all so much for supporting this channel for this long. Thank you for all the likes, thank you for all the comments. I would not be here if it wasn't for all of you, and hopefully y'all will keep allowing me to stay here for way longer. I love you all, and see you guys next time.